Tim Ferriss. So, subtitle of the 4-Hour Body is An Uncommon Guide to Rapid Fat Loss, which we've talked about, Incredible Sex, which we haven't talked about, and Becoming Superhuman. Turning the book over, I note that what you're promising in this book, and this is an ambitious promise, is how to produce 15-minute female orgasms. Now, I don't know whether that's directed to men or women, but you don't have to actually explain it in too many graphic details, but what does that involve, 15-minute female orgasms?
So what that involves is really providing a step-by-step guide for men who don't understand female anatomy very well, in general, I would say. I mean, male orgasms, you could put lots, well, there were lots of photos. The publisher vetoed the photos. They're very graphic, so now we have illustrations. Lost in translation, but what you have to pick your battles in publishing. It entails really taking, as unsexy as it sounds, a methodical approach to looking at what works and what doesn't. So some of these chapters were more fun to research than others.
So you did a lot of practical research?
You have to. I have to field test.
And you beat 15 minutes?
It's I did. It's so I'll give readers a quick tip, or viewers in this case. So I'll get graphic for 1 second. So if you're looking at the clitoris head on, right, exactly. If 12 o'clock is here and you go to 1 o'clock, that upper quadrant is generally where most women are sensitive. And you have to give the woman permission to focus on that, and the way you do that is by basically removing sex from the equation. So you avoid the kissing, the fondling, all of that, and focus on manual stimulation until you achieve that, let's say, 10 to 15-minute orgasm, which is actually surprisingly easy to do.
Is that continual?
It's a continuous. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so the woman has to learn how to breathe. It can be pretty fatiguing. Now, not to say you have to do it for that long, but there is a method to it, and it's replicable. And that, I think, is a very valuable skill to have, certainly. So
it's a great publishing, it's a great marketing strategy, because all the women out there are going to force their boyfriends and husbands to buy this book.
As they should.
More seriously, or equally seriously, Tim, because a 15-minute female orgasm is very serious, especially for the woman. What is all this business about becoming superhuman? Because there are seriously going to be people who listen to what you say, and you're talking about sex in a very non-romantic sense.
Right.
Do you really believe that we can become superhuman, and what does that mean?
So I do believe that from the perspective of most people and how they view their current limitations, they can become superhuman. They can become superhuman equivalents of themselves. So as an example, I have problems with my left lung. I was born premature, and I was trained by David Blaine, the illusionist and magician, to hold my breath. And within 20 minutes of training, I held my breath for 3 minutes and 33 seconds. So I broke Houdini's lifetime record in breath holding. And once you do something like that, and I'm not encouraging people to do the breath holding part necessarily, once you do something like that, or let's say you've never run more than 5 miles, and then you train and you go out and you run 50 miles, which is entirely possible in a very short period of time, 3 to 4 months. Once you do something like that, you are fundamentally a different person. You view the world and the possibilities around you as infinitely more than beforehand. So I do think that if you look at the highest levels of any particular skill set, holding your breath for 3 minutes to an expert freediver is nothing. But to the average person, that's impossible. That is superhuman. Similarly, to a high-level power lifter, deadlifting, meaning pulling off the floor 600 pounds, is nothing. But to the average person, lifting 600 pounds off the ground is impossible. That is superhuman. And so this book, I think, is for the 99% who aren't already superhuman in their respective fields. But I do think that people very predictably can do these things, and that was a large motivation for writing the book. Because once you transcend your limitations so dramatically in one area, that transfers to everything else that you do. So the benefits really transcend the body, and that was, I think, one of the major objectives of writing this in the first place.
30 seconds left, Tim. Summarize your attitude to mortality.
think the value of life, or the chief goal in life, should be adding life to your years and not years to your life. I think that it is possible to do things like live to 120, 130, and I talk about that. But I think that it's a crime, it's a shame to not fulfill your physical potential while you can. And it doesn't take a lot of time, doesn't take a lot of money, and it can be very, very simple. So I would encourage people to experiment and enjoy all the fruits that their physical body has to offer.
The immortal, or nearly immortal, Tim Ferriss, best of luck with this remarkable new book, which no doubt will have the same or perhaps even more success than your first remarkable book. Thank you so much.
Thank you.